This presentation is made possible by these amazing individuals and organizations. Whether it was through Patreon, Super Chats, Super Stickers, or by watching, liking, and commenting, I really appreciate each and every one of you. Hello guys, it's Retro Nerd Girl broadcasting live from the International Science Fiction Space Station. Great to see you this morning. Well, I forgot to put on my light. There. Woo! That makes it a lot easier to see me. I hope you guys are doing well. Let's see. I've got a very short list of people in the chat today. We got Unicorn Rampant Studio. The first to comment says, "Good morning. I hope Christmas was good. I'm walking in the rain with Camille, visiting other dogs in the rain with Camille. LOL." That is so cool. Yeah, it's doing something weird outside too where I'm at. So kind of the weather is kind of wild, but great to see you, and I hope your Christmas was well too. I did have a good time on Christmas Day, and Keith E is here as well. Hi, Keith E. I hope you had a great Christmas. It says I can hear you. And that is awesome. I don't have to worry about that, so that's great. Thanks for letting me know. I am super excited to talk about the subject matter today, which is Rebel Moon, um, which is the part one of part two. There's supposed to be two parts to this. And I have to say, just in the general market of just generally, I absolutely loved this movie. And I'm it's not quite done yet because it's only part one. And I had the same problem with Dune part one as well, was that we know that there's more coming for this. And so it's kind of hard to fully judge it until you see the second half. I mean, who knows? The second half could be complete dog, completely terrible. And it just not, didn't live up to the first part of it. But so far, I'm really liking what I'm seeing. I'm not just liking it; I'm loving it, and I'm really really excited to see more. Now, before I get into it, um, I wanted to kind of go through sort of the backstory of this whole thing and what's going on in pop culture right now concerning this particular movie. It's very interesting to me. This is like uncovering, the archives, and actually, we're actually living through what will soon be history. Let's see if I can pull up my slideshow. Now, today is going to mostly be about the Rebel Moon review, or my assessment of Rebel Moon with spoiler talk. So if you haven't seen it and you want to see it, and you don't want to be spoiled, go on ahead and we'll convene back later. But for you, those of you who don't mind and who want to know my thoughts on it, I will be happy to share every single thought I have about this movie, and with glee, So the first thing that I wanted to kind of talk about with Rebel Moon is it is created by it's created by Zack Snyder. He is the kind of the creator of this new universe in which he said that he brought the idea to Star Wars, and the people in charge of Star Wars, and they did not want to go with it. They passed on it. No reason was given why, and it's fine. We know kind of like the style of how Zack Snyder does his movies, and it's completely different from what you expect from Star Wars. So I could see how they were just not ready to kind of go into a more like R rating or R version of Star Wars, and or something more, a little bit more savage than what they're normally used to. His work is sometimes very gritty and but done in a very bold, visually bold manner. And for some people, it's exactly what they want, and for other people, it isn't what they want. They don't like a lot of the things, his style. They don't enjoy it. So I would say, for sure, this movie, in my opinion, is definitely not going to be for everyone. It's not for every single person out there. There are just going to be some people who don't like his style of making movies, and they can, those people should, definitely stay away because this is giving you the most of his style that I've seen so far. It's just really delivering on a lot of his aesthetic, filmmaking wise, and even story design, dialogue as well. So I find a lot of the ZACK isms to be in this, and of course, I enjoy it. I do enjoy watching directors with certain style motifs express themselves in their artistic way. It is art in the making of films, and I enjoy that element of it. And so there is a lot of talk about how this is the new Star Wars, or what Star Wars should be or could be, or and for some people are like, no, we're so glad that this isn't, that Star Wars did not go down this road because they're already in a lot of trouble. And so that is definitely a personal opinion, and I think myself included. And so I believe Debbie Snyder, who was the producer of this, said, "Yeah, that was a great thing that happened. That Star Wars did not go along with Zach's idea because now he gets to really control the IP he's designing." And I think for everyone, we're like, "New IP? Tell me more." We're all like, I am at least like excited about a new IP out there that we could enjoy, that is designed by a creator, a visionary, someone who has an intention for everything he does. So that to me is really an awesome moment in cinema history for me, personally. I know everyone is different, but I'm just explaining my thoughts on that. And the Emancipator TJ is here in the house. Hello. So good to see you. Says hi, Retro. Hello to you as well. I hope you had a wonderful time for Christmas and you're enjoying the holidays. Really, really great to see you. Thank you for stopping by and supporting. Really appreciate that. Um, let's see. And anyone that's here, please do hit the like button it will help my channel quite a bit, and I would really appreciate it. Now, to go further into this, let's first look at the inspiration. Now, Star Wars was an inspiration to many people when it came out, as to direct a lot of people to like, hey, now we can make sci-fi movies, because at the time sci-fi movies were considered a huge joke. In many ways, it didn't not stop being that, but it was a lot of studios didn't want to invest in sci-fis because they cost a lot of money, and were they going to make up the money in the return? Were people going to go see a sci-fi movie? Well, Star Wars opened the door for people watching sci-fi, and a lot of studios were like, yeah, you've got a science fiction project, come on in. And many of those studios also said, can we make it like Star Wars? And so there were many movies that were, I think they initially tried to do original ideas, but the Star Wars influence kind of dwarfed the production, and so they had to include things that were similar, just because then it was going to get people in the door and people were going to be excited. That's how trends are, right? So Star Wars is definitely a very unique cultural moment in history. Even James Cameron, who was at the time a truck driver, he quit his job so he can go into the film industry. He just was like, I want to make movies. This is what I want to be doing. He was very excited and inspired by this movie. So this movie really did inspire a lot of movies. And this, we have to acknowledge the fact that Star Wars is that kind of a movie. But Star Wars itself was not entirely original. The name was original, the names of the characters were original, but a lot of the story plots and pieces were taken from a lot of other locations. And so this is a popular statement that is really shared among artists, filmmakers, everyone. Everything in our society right now is a remix. It's a remix of a lot of other things, including the very language that we speak. We learn from the people around us what's cool to say and what's not cool to say. We learn from our parents, our teachers, what's on television, hanging out with our friends, and looking up to the people that we even look up to. We want to speak like those people. So there's a lot of influences in in the very fabric of being human. From the first person who created fire to now we are able to stream through the air, and speak to one another and see each other's faces and communicate to each other. This is wonderful because we kept teaching each other, we kept learning from each other, kept building on what we already knew. So Star Wars, I don't think is this a lone elephant that is the beginning and end of all things, because it too copied big time. And oh wow, El Necron is here. Hi, El Necron. Says tell him retro. Yes, well, I just feel like this is a misconception that people have all over when it comes to science fiction in particular. I'm a science fiction lover. So I just feel like people just put down other science fiction movies simply because it's science fiction and there's spaceships and there's a singular character or hero, and so that hero is always compared to Luke Skywalker. And it's like, what can like that is the trope for every single hero in all of the the classics, like Jason and the Argonauts. Jason was a prince, just like Luke, looking to take down a family member, his uncle. And so there were many stories that have already had baked into it the hero's journey, in which was heavily used and identified in Star Wars. And so I think, and this is by no means to put down Star Wars at all, because it's wonderful. It's a huge influence on all of us. On all of us. We all know all of the details there is to know about Star Wars. It's part of our culture now. But we have this. Someone was on the internet put together this image. I didn't. But this is from a movie called Metropolis that was done in the 1920s. And clearly C-3PO is a direct, like a son, daughter, like the son or grandchild of this particular robot that was done in the 1920s. A cool character. Wouldn't dream of not seeing C-3PO at all. I think it's cool and it's awesome that we have a character like C-3PO that was made in this fashion, and is a reflection of something that was made in the 1920s. Wonderful. Flash Gordon is also a very huge influence on Star Wars. This has turned into a history lesson. I'm sorry. But I need to set this up in order to go forward, because that is the biggest complaint I hear about this movie, and that is a smorgasbord or a conglomerate of all sorts of different movies. That Zack Snyder is stealing from other movies to make his own movie. Well, it has been done several times before. I'm just showing you examples right now of that in some of the biggest films that we've seen in Hollywood, and uh, definitely Flash Gordon, that was done in the 1930s, um, starring Buster Crabbe, was a huge influence on Star Wars. And one of the things is the pacing of Star Wars. The first one, 1977, goes by so fast, and it's the same exact beat rhythm of those really cool serials from back then. They went fast, and they were very energetic. It was great. Just great stuff. And I love the fact that he used that pacing. It's one of the reasons why it's so high up there as a movie that I highly regard. Then and there's Princess Leia's hairstyle, which is not, it's actually been seen all through history, but the original Flash Gordon had a character, Princess Freya, that had those space buns that we're calling, and it was done before. And also, Cloud City. It is a replica of yet another feature in Flash Gordon, and the infamous scroll that we see in the beginning of Star Wars. In every Star Wars movie, um, at least the originals, you get this wonderful scroll telling you and catching you up on what is going on in the world. And this is exposition done in this fashion, and it is directly from Flash Gordon. They didn't even change the way it's done. They liked the way it kind of dipped off into, it went off into, forever, and it's just really cool. It's one of the coolest features. I do love that, and it's one of the most memorable moments in Star Wars too. You'll never forget that scroll. Now, another movie that we really love in pop culture is Kill Bill. Uh, and Kill Bill is just highly regarded. People just love it. I love it as well. It's not like my favorite film ever, but it's really well made. It's really fantastic. Um, Quentin Tarantino, uh, I really like that guy. He's really a wonderful storyteller, and just I like his spirit. I like the way he makes, why he makes movies the way he makes the movies, at least the way he tells that, his thought process between this. So this is not a slight or anything on him. I'm just pointing out some of the influences that you can see from his movie, that is highly regarded. And would we ever dream of not having a movie like Kill Bill in our lives? I mean, it's really amazing. So, Kill Bill, we have the bride in this really cool jumpsuit, and yeah, if you go back, Bruce Lee is wearing that same exact uh, um, jumpsuit, and it's in reference to him that she's wearing it, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I mean, I do love it. It's a great jumpsuit. I would love to have one. um, and it's specifically styled, but also one other thing that I wanted to mention is that she's doing a pretty incredible stunt here as far as like hanging upside down in this moment, which is pure fantasy, right? It's a character fantasy, and I think that's part of the fun of why we like this kind of a movie. It's kind of it's playing with reality, but also playing with fantasy as well. And so that's the magic of movies. The magic of movies. So there's also a movie called Lady Snowblood, which there's a lot of there's a lot of visuals and moments that are very similar to Kill Bill, Kill Bill to Lady Snowblood, and it's quite amazing to see, to be very honest with you. And um, it's it doesn't diminish my love for that film at all, knowing that there were influences from other places. And I mean, the influences are startlingly obvious. They're it's not changed very much, these influence. So yeah, Tarantino's been doing this for many, many movies, and we all love it when he does these little callbacks to other movies and things that we've seen throughout pop culture. And maybe we haven't seen it, but it's still cool. He knows how to put them all together, right? So basically, when we look at let's go back to Star Wars. The inspiration for Star Wars is actually a movie. Is actually a movie by Akira Kurosawa. Okay, Kurosawa did a lot of movies that I say people, the elites of film school, and have really studied all of his films because they're all incredible. And especially a lot of westerns have been inspired by his work, but in particular Star Wars, the inspiration was the Hidden Fortress. The Hidden Fortress is the movie that was specifically referenced or specifically used as a model. Um, um, or inspiration. Lucas has mentioned this many times. He doesn't shy away from it, and it's a great story. It's basically where the storyline focuses on the lesser characters and not the main heroes as much. Where we've got R2D2 and C3PO are kind of telling the story throughout the first two. I'm sorry, three movies. So I think we kind of get the idea here. Um, but there is another movie that has been very much loved by Hollywood and Italian cinema as well. Seven Samurai. It is a movie about seven warriors who help to save a farming community, and it is been pretty much used to tell the story of Magnificent Seven. And Magnificent Seven got an update in, I believe, 2016, I believe, or 2015, one of them. We also have Battle Beyond the Stars, a really sweet, niche 1980 movie, I think is really good. Roger Corman and James Cameron did a lot of the work behind the scenes on this movie as well. So it's a wonderful, special little movie. Then we've got Message from Space, which is an international movie. It is really good. I do love this movie so very much. And it was also inspired by not Magnificent Seven, but Seven Samurai. The idea of getting a group of people together to go fight a big baddie. It's a great storyline, right? It's a great idea. And A Bug's Life does pretty much the same thing. A Bug's Life, no one ever thinks about that. Should we march to the Pixar studios and say, "Hey, you guys copy the story idea"? Uh, I think we're okay. A Bug's Life was a fantastic movie. I enjoyed it immensely when I first saw it. And yeah, it's great. Ocean's 11 is another movie where you get a whole bunch of people get together. Don't really know everything there is to know about every character right away, but we go and do this, big heist. You need all your specialty characters to perform different jobs. And we've got, the Fast and Furious movies. And we've got the Expendables, where you've got a huge ensemble cast. Huge. And we even got the Justice League. This is coming right back around to Zack Snyder again. Zack Snyder's version, of course, is the preferred. Let's see, Darth is here. Hello, Darth. How are you? Says, I love It's a Bug's Life. Wasn't it a great movie? Oh, it's wonderful. So this is where I'm like, let's give our movies a little slack because they're a lot like other movies because that is how filmmaking grows. How it gets better is if we take, we take steps, you know, and move on to make better movies. So that's how I feel about influences. I think they're great. I think they're great. And every movie that you think is original, every single one that really like, oh, that did something original. I will say there's probably a lot of evidence to say that that movie has been influenced by other movies. It's wonderful. I do think you need those references from other movies. Uh, you know, some people are able to get the weaknesses from those movies and make them better. That's another thing too. Dart says the ladybug was hilarious. Yeah. There were so many wonderful characters in that. And TJ says it's similar to Squad too. Yes, I think so. It's got that, that feeling about like you get all these great people together, and Avengers and all of that. That's great. The only thing about Avengers is that they all kind of had their own movies and had time to grow, to become um, this group. Whereas for most of these other movies, it's like all in one movie where you learn about all of these characters and move rather quickly. It moves rather quickly. So now we are at Rebel Moon, where it's clearly doing a adaptation of Seven Samurai. It is not doing an adaptation of Star Wars, A New Hope, or any of the other movies. It's doing an adaptation of a Seven Samurai in space. Okay, it is, if you saw Message from Space, you would say, "Oh, I see similarities more than you would say that any of the other movies." If you saw Battle Beyond the Stars, you would say that the similarities are more in line here. And so that's where I definitely hope that everyone is doing their homework watching films. And TJ also says another similarity to The Watchmen. Yes, The Watchmen, which is a great example of getting an ensemble of a whole bunch of characters and putting them in one movie, and so they can go up against one big bad. Very nice. Yeah, it's a common it's a common um, idea. I mean, you want Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman to find each other so they can form the Justice League and fight against the big bads. It's really important. It's really important. I mean, we do this every day, right? Every day is the Magnificent Seven Day. We all get together so that we can defeat, whatever monsters are plaguing us. And so it's a story everybody could identify with, and that's why it resonates so strongly. And the good Austin is here. Hi, the good Austin says, I was a little kid when A Bug's Life uh, came out. Sorry for the late comment. I'm working. Who ordered the poo poo platter? Yes. It still gets me from when he visited the Bug Circus when he first left the colony. I do love that movie. It's been a while. I need to revisit too. I need to revisit for some good good feelings all around. Yeah, it is so important to remember those things when these new movies come out and you say, "Oh, this looks like this movie and that movie." Well, you got to have references. They come at you because they are universal emotions and feelings and things that we can all understand. Now, it doesn't guarantee that you would like the movie or whatever. That's another personal thing. I'm not talking about whether you're personally liking a movie or not. That's all you. I ain't gonna get involved. But I just wanted to clarify exactly these references to Star Wars is very minimal. Now this scene here is people have commented that it is very similar to the scene in which Luke Skywalker is looking out to the two suns. And visually, possibly, yes, not the emotional element because a lot happened in Star Wars by the time we got to that scene. And of course, the music swelling and all that emotion is really important for us to understand what that scene meant to Luke Skywalker. But this is just this is setting us up for a whole another deal altogether. And first of all, it's beautiful. Can we just accept the fact that this looks really incredibly beautiful? Like I've always dreamt of this. I've drawn pictures of this. I'm actually like putting together a story with this with something like this in the picture. And it's like Zach Zach did it. Look, he did it, and it's beautiful. I love it. Okay, stop it. Just stop it. For me, this is like wow, that's beautiful. That was the first thing I said when I saw this, and it really is the colors, the sound, everything to go with this. It wasn't meant for an impact yet, but this is just something like setting the scene. This is the world we're in, and I do love this wonderful opening moment. And that is just showing our main character Cora, played by Sophia Botella, in her element of being a farmer. Okay, now the backstory of Necron says that scene was lit. I was like, wow, this is fantastic. Right away we get these whirls and that wonderful scene. It was fantastic. um I do love it. I do have some notes that I'm going to refer to right quick, but also to tell you like all of these things, the visuals, all of the characters. This is for 30 years in the making for Zack Snyder. He's been ever since he was in college. He was thinking about these ideas, introduced the idea to a professor who said, "Oh, this sounds like a great concept," and then that's how this kind of matured. Um, as well, it is one of those things where I do love when people are doing things that come from the heart, and this comes from the heart. Even if I can't see everything of the picture, I can definitely see the care that is being put into a lot of the scenes and the moments in this film. TJ says, Welt Dutch feels English. In Afrikaans, the derivative language of Dutch, the spelling is Veld. Oh, cool. Really interesting. Yeah, every time they said the word Veld, I was like, huh? Because it's part of my name sounds like that. I'm like, huh? That is also the how people like friends of mine sometimes they didn't want to say my full name, and so they would just call me Belt, and I'm like, what? It was so weird. It was so weird. Anyway, this planet of Belt, as TJ is letting us know the background. Thank you so much, TJ. That's really awesome. I love this. This is a great collaboration here. This planet is seems to have little parts to it. One is like a port in which you can travel to different places, and then there's like a brothel there and some other places, but also the part in which this village is, um, they are set aside where they have fields of wheat which were actually grown for this movie, fields of wheat. And so they had to learn about farming. They had to learn about farming in order to do this. Fields of wheat, and then this little really cool village. It's really sweet. So the backstory in her, I want to get her backstory together. Um, let's see. Yeah, let's read some more stuff that you guys have said. Darth says, "Haven't seen this yet. Hope it's as good as it looks." Yeah, I mean, I will take it like this. I will preface it with this. It's not the entire story. So do go into it with knowing that, oh, there's more coming. There's more coming. There's a lot more coming. And we're going to talk about that too. And the Godasa says, yes, Retro, this scene is my dream as well. Yes. Who hasn't? Like, this is, if you're a sci fi lover, you haven't had a dream of seeing this visual in your mind. I've seen it. It's so vivid. I literally have the the um the diorama, right? I have to post it one day, the diorama of a scene that's similar to this, that is in my apartment. It's really great. It's like, I'm like, Zach, you stole what was in my mind. And Keith E says, is that a pepper? It's hot, right? Okay, hot pepper. And TJ says, the planet behind Cora just looks like Saturn and Jupiter, uh, uh, maybe. Yeah, it does look like a Saturn, a version of a Saturn type planet, a gaseous type planet. So yeah, I'm curious as to what that is, and if we can, what more about this universe. And Dart says it's only on Netflix. It's like the series, right? Yes, this is the series on Netflix. It was in theaters. I'm not sure if it's still in theaters now, but it limited numbers of theaters. But right now it's on Netflix, and yeah. And TJ says, no, it's a film. It's not a series. Yes, it's not a series. It's a film. But it's a one of a group of films. Yeah, something like that. I'll explain. And TJ says, yes, it's on Netflix right now, and it's a film. And Dart says, they're showing at theaters because the commercials look awesome. Thanks, Emancipator. Yes, it is. They are showing it at theaters. Some theaters, very limited numbers of theaters. So, yes. So, okay, let's get into it. So, the character of Cora is the main person. If we want to get a visual on what she looks like, she's the one in the middle here. So Cora, her beginnings is that she uh, is from a world that was destroyed by the man that's right next to her, who is Belisarius. Um, he's our big bad in the story that is kind of manipulating things and being very, very elusive to the camera at this point. But he is definitely, the one everyone wants to impress. As far as in the bad guy, the bad guy world, he is ruthless. He is very, very evil, and he is mainly responsible for the death of her family and everyone she knew, and her world being destroyed. But he meets up with her, and he says he takes her in. He takes her in as his daughter, and she grows up on military ships where she learns from the best of the best. She says it was a rough life, and she learned how to be a soldier. And she was so good that um, she became confident to, she was uh, became a confidant to the king, and this is the king here, and his family, his royal family. And this is his the king is being played by Carrie Elves, who is, I'm just so happy to see him in something like this. He's just such a great actor and seems like a nice person in general. But he's playing the king. Now, the king, the way they're setting it up is that this king is not a benevolent king. He is a king that rules with ruthlessness. But something changes when his daughter is born, where he starts to have hope for a better and a more softer way of rule. And his daughter is and there's Belisarius, who's also like sort of still waiting in the wings. He grows, gets more powerful among the ranks. So as the story goes on, you see him getting more and more powerful. He starts off as a general, I believe, and then he's a senator, and then he becomes a regent after the king and queen have died. Um, so this is the royal family here, that, and you can see our protagonist is in the back protecting them. So she's honored with um, that particular job. She actually sees the young girl, the Princess Isa, revive a dead bird. So Isa has the power to give life, I believe, and so she's a very special girl with magical powers, which is not common in this universe. But we do have a magical individual. So we don't have the force, and we don't have we don't have that kind of stuff. But she is definitely a magical individual. And let's see. The Emancipator says very limited screenings. Yes. Um, and he's the dark side of this universe for now. Yes, dark side, or the emperor, like during his rise to power, right? Um, and says Isa is the life giver. Yeah, she's the life giver. Everybody has a name, and Isa is definitely the life giver. If you could say what Korra is the fugitive, right? Korra is the fugitive. Um, and Emancipator says, I think that would be the name of the third film. I do believe that too. That the third um, would be the life giver. Yes. There's a moment where the king has a conversation with Korra, telling her that her friendship really means a lot to Issa, and that she should she should value it, and this could mean the difference between in their world, in their universe, could really change. Um, and oh, William Blake Hall is here. How are you? Says, hey gang, another good one. I had another good home care session just now. What's up? It looks like I can make Fifth Element after all too. Oh, great, great! You can make that watch party. That's wonderful. So glad that everything is going well. So good. And so. Uh, what eventually happens is that the king and queen are, and supposedly the princess is also assassinated, but I don't, for some reason, and a lot of people agree with me on this, we don't think that Issa has passed on. We believe that she is alive, and she is actually in this movie. So, so it is very, very, very interesting. We'll get more story about this, I believe, in the second installment. Now, this is the village that Korra is stowaway on, where she's kind of blending in with the entire group of people. They want her to marry. She's like, I don't want to, I'm not really gonna be here forever. I think she's just not ready to accept this place as her home. And she still feels out of sorts there, and it's kind of a sort of kind of sad because you can see everybody's trying to involve her, and she's just not willing just yet to do that. Uh, then we have this guy. His name is Gunnar. He's being played by Michael Hussman, and he is the farmer. Wonderful guy. I this is like right now. This is my favorite character. I know it's weird. He's my favorite character. Um, he does very he does a lot for the community of this village, including like managing things, managing who's working, checking up on the surplus. He sells some of the surplus as well. He monitors and logs the seeds and catalogs them. He's doing all of this stuff. Really much more higher end stuff than maybe anyone else in the village are doing. Everybody there is just like they're farming and getting together and socializing and yeah, other things. There's I won't, because this is a PG channel. We won't talk. We won't say what it is, but we'll talk around it. But it's very much a very happy-go-lucky kind of place. They're really in touch with the earth and in touch with doing things by hand. And so it's very wonderful little community that they have there. And she likes it there, but for some reason she just isn't there. And also, um, one thing to say about Gunnar is that from the very beginning, you see that he kind of likes her. He's always looking at her. He's always watching her. Anything she does, he's like, "What is she doing?" He's there. He's there. If you watch this movie and look at his expressions when she's close or he's watching her. He's always watching her. So that lets me know that he has a huge crush on her, and is really playing it down. He's acting like he's trying to help his friend, but I think he really would have liked to be with her, but she doesn't want to be with anybody. Um, she's either doing work or just like doesn't want to put her mind to join this group for real. It just isn't a real thing for her. And everything changes when she sees one of the ships for one of the Imperium ships show up. They found this little village, and they are coming to um, interact with the people. And unfortunately, everybody is like, "Oh yeah, well, no big deal." But she's like, "No, these guys want everything. They're going to destroy this community." And she couldn't be more correct, because as soon as they get there, they're super disrespectful. Instead of landing a few paces away, they land right like right in the village and kick up all this dust and smoke all over the place. And it's just, really, they don't care. They don't care about this place or these people. So we get our first interactions with um, oh, I don't know if I have a picture of him, but we have Admiral Atticus Noble, who is asking for um, grain to feed his men, and unfortunately, the oh, I forgot his name. Sin Silo, oh God, Sinew, I think is his name. Does anybody know this guy's name? Sinew. What is his name? Let me find out really quick what his name is. It's a lot of names to keep track of, but I can't wait to have them all memorized. Um, bum, 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 bum. Bear with me, guys. Sindri. Oof. Sindri. Sindri. Thank you. Thank you, TJ. Yes. Sindri. Yes, as you can see though, he is inspired, like there's sort of like a Viking inspiration here, which I do love. I love the way everything looks so realistic and like very Norse, very Norse um, inspired. And yeah, I love that beard. But Sindri is not really built for this kind of thing. Okay, he's not built for interacting with evil uh, officers of the Imperium. He just isn't. So instead, when asked, "Can you give us your grain?" he says, "Oh no, we can't, and we don't have any surplus for you," which is a lie. So I think his response really should have been, should have been like, yes, whatever you need. They don't have the fighting resources to fight against them, but they would still have to deal with some other things. But at least it would be better than what happens in the story. Unfortunately, um, Gunnar makes a huge mistake and he speaks up and says, "Wait a minute, we have a surplus we can give you, and you know we can. There's a lot we can do." And so the bad guy is like, "Hey, I thought you didn't have anything," and so he was lied to. He gets really upset, um, and does some horrible things. There he is, Atticus Noble, Atticus Noble, and he kills Sindri as an example to everyone else, and also it's just brutal, um, and really horrible, and it's all Gunnar's fault. It's all his fault, and it's not only just his fault for that. He's been taking the surplus every year and selling it to rebels. What? So no wonder the the fleet has found them. The Imperium has found them because it leads right to this little village. So yes, absolutely. Uh, Gunnar messed up. He really did. And I know that some people pronounce the names Gunnar. Uh, yeah, and I'm assuming his last name isn't Crawford. Um, I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Let me know. What am I missing? What am I missing? And let's see. Yeah, so he proves Atticus proves a few things. This is a very tense filled moment, and I remember like, oh my god, my hands were sweating. I was like worried for people. I was like super upset, and like I was like, oh my god, what was gonna happen? It looked like he was gonna kill Gunnar like immediately. I was like, wait a minute, oh no, and so he did this. Oh, it's just so messed up. So yeah, that moment was very scary. In fact, as soon as they touched down, it was very scary. Um, and Emancipator says, "Oh, Cindy Crawford. Oh, okay." Um, and let's see. Okay, so there is one amongst the he. Okay, so let me just explain this. They don't stay. The Atticus doesn't stay. He leaves. He asks, "How long does it take to, get this, get all the grain that I want?" And so, Gunnar says, "Oh, a certain amount of time," and he says, "Okay, well, I'll be back for that." In the meantime, he leaves a regiment of his men who are absolutely disrespectful, mean, rude, and horrible. There's only one among them that is actually a decent guy. And I guess he got caught in the middle of this whole thing, and he's just, you know, doing what he can to survive, And so he's in there. His name is Aris, and he's actually, we'll come back to Aris because he plays a part in this, and I do adore, his little interaction in the story. So we have a character by the name of Sam. Okay, Aris activates what is called a Jimmy robot, and the Jimmy robots used to be absolutely dedicated to the king, and was also very dedicated to Princess Issa. And so Jimmy tells the story to this young girl Sam about Princess Issa, and says, also says, hey, you kind of remind me of her. And Emancipator has the exact name, the exact coordinates for him. It is JC 2345, aka Jimmy. Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't think I would do this without you, Emancipator. Oh my goodness. And so there is something that happens. She gives him a crown, and she touches his face, and parts of his face light up, and it's really quite touching, that moment. And it kind of leaves you in this kind of wonder what's going on there. So I think there's more, of course, that we're gonna probably learn about these two characters in the next movie. Well, unfortunately, the bad guys that are still left on the planet to kind of watch over things, they decide to pick a fight with this young girl, Sam, and they intend to do something very terrible with her. Very, very much, it's very terrible, okay? And so, in order to stop that, of course, right on in the moment of leaving town, because Cora is realizing that a lot of these people, they're just not aware of how dangerous of a situation they're in. They think that they can work their way into good graces, and that the Imperium will accept them and understand. And one of the girls said, let our work fight for us. I'm like, these guys are gonna work you to the bone until there's nothing left. They don't care. They're just parasites on the universe, and if they don't get what they want, they level your planet, which is super dumb, but that's what they do. And they need to do that to set an example to other places that they rule over, that hey, if you get out of line, we can do this to your world as well. So it is one of those moments where there's a really wonderful action scene with Cora really mixing it up with these guys and doing some intense damage. Aris gets involved too, and he proves himself to be like, hey, I'm going to protect Sam. And it's just wonderful the way he stands up for her. And I'm like, oh, is there like a little love story going on there, or what's happening there? But also, he's willing to throw away his allegiance with these guys, and do it for this young girl. And Good Austin says Aris is a play on words to speak. Aris, the god of war and courage. Aris, the ram who was sacrificed to make the golden fleece in ancient Greek mythology. Aris is also my nickname, so pretty cool. Aw, that is really sweet. Nice information. Awesome. Yes. Well, I hope this character really gives us a lot more in the future. There's tons of possibilities with this little kid. He's really pretty scrappy. He's willing to get, get in the mix with these much bigger um, warriors, and he just soldiers, and so he's like really cool. And Dartha says, wondering if it's a little bit of Warhammer video games vibe. Yes, it does have a video games vibe to it. Yeah, I've heard Warhammer compared, but Warhammer is not quite, but there's a shadows of it. Shadows of it. Oh, and there's Mama Bear Art Doll says, "Hey y'all, how are you this morning?" And it's so good to have you with us today. And Dart says, "That's cool, Austin. Yeah, that is really really cool." Um, and and a lot of people had something to say about this fight. They were like, "Oh, she's too skinny and little to make any difference." But this is also another thing that we like in our fantasy, right? And also, we've got, like, I showed you guys this picture a little prematurely, but that is James Bond fighting a much bigger person and winning. And we see this a lot because it is part of the fantasy that there's a bigger character that we can fight and beat eventually. And let's also go back to that picture of Bruce Lee fighting the giant here, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and it's like, hey, look, you've got this character who is huge, has a huge advantage over the little guy, and yet the little guy can win. It's the underdog story. We all love it. And I'm not sure why there's such a complaint to make things so realistic when we've always been playing in this fantasy world. We've always been playing in this fantasy world. And we also have David and Goliath, one of the most incredible stories of our history, way back in the Bible days. And I mean, imagine sitting around a campfire listening to the story of David and Goliath, and somebody says, "It's not realistic." Just like, what? Why are you ruining it for me? It's a wonderful story of the little guy beating the big guy. I know it's a trope, but we all love it. Don't you wish you can be it's fantasy fulfillment, right? It's the little guy beats the big guy. I love it. I love it. And let's see. And the Emancipator says, "I think Sam is Princess Issa." Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do too. I think a lot of people that have come to that conclusion that Sam is Princess Issa. He's Jimmy says, like, you remind me of her. And when she touches his face, it kind of lights up a little bit. But we're not sure if that's just something that happens anytime somebody touches his face, or if it meant something to him. If she has powers that touched him in a certain way and did something to him, because he seems much different after she touches him. And we'll soon find out. We'll soon explore that along the way. And then Kingdom of Nerds is here. Hello, says hello everyone. So good to see you. So good to see you. And yeah, look, I love a good fantasy. Please give me more. So and after this battle, they realize that they have to fight. They're going to go out and find people to help the village fight against the Imperium. And this is and Dart says Into the Dragon, right? Yes, that was from Into the Dragon. Great movie, wonderful movie. And they meet a host of different characters when they go out to I forgot the name of the place, but it is a little area on Veld where you can take your ship off somewhere amongst the stars, and there's like a little saloon that they go in. It's not a cantina, as a lot of people have said. It is a saloon in which everything in here is for sale, so to speak. And there are a lot of creatures of different types that are doing business. And this guy, approaches. Uh, he approaches Cora and asks if Gunner is for sale because Gunner, since he has a background on knowing exactly who to talk to reach the rebels, he's brought along on this mission. It's really a great um, tie-in for him to be there. Is that he's the one who's been doing all the dealings for the village, and he's now the one that we need to rely on for this journey. Let's see. A lot of you are here today. Wow. Sin Havoc, Rebel Moon is the revenge of Zack Snyder. Is it? I think it's just his dream. But if his dream is revenge, then uh, so be it. Great to see you, Sin Havoc. It's so great to see you here. Uh, and thank you so much. You're so sweet. Let's see. And the Emancipator says, by the way, it's just, is it just me? But those soldiers who wanted to R Sam sounded South African to me. Someone else mentioned that there are a lot of South African actors in this, and so I'm not sure. It says Jimmy reminded me of Chappie. Oh yeah, there's a lot of physical similarities, right? As in maybe even design and animation. Possible. Dynamic says Rebel Moon is a story from the old world. It's very much has a lot of those influences. I was feeling like there were even like influences of the Crusades in there. The classics. Very much, Jason and the Argonauts come to mind, that kind of thing. So, oh, it would be so nice if there were skeleton monsters that they have to fight. That would be great. Anyway, just imagining. Um, and see. All right, let me continue on with this little thing. So when they get there, they are actually saved. Well, they do a bit of fighting and show off Korra's skills, but basically, the person who saves them from being killed ultimately is Kai, and Kai is who is the opportunist. He's the opportunist. I think he mentions the word opportunity 2 times. He calls himself an opportunist, and I think he says it once again. He's very much about making deals, and he's got one in mind when he sees Korra. So his thing is he's going to get together with Korra and kind of seduce her with the idea of Korra and Gunner that, hey, look, we could I could help you, and I know some other people who don't like the Imperium and would love to join the fight. And she's like, yeah, the more the merrier. Why not? So there's all the more reason to have him join their group because he's offering something that they need. They need to get more people on their side in order to fight this battle that they're going to have. So there's all the reason there. There's all the reason I've heard on. Sometimes people have said there's no reason why he should be involved in this story. He needs to be in the story because there needs to be somebody to find this group of people. They don't have all the information. The only people that they're looking for right now, she knows about General Titus, and um, she knows about the blood axes, but she doesn't know about the other ones. Okay, so uh, this character Kai is very, he's very charming. He's very charming, and he is definitely got a very um, unique way of kind of pulling you into his web. He's very charming. I would go with him. I would get scammed, but and Mama Bear says, I'll have to watch it again to catch that, TJ. What was the thing? the South African, yeah, yeah, influence. Yeah. I've heard some other people mention the accents. There's quite a few European accents going around, and South African accent is one of them. Sort of it's like a mixture of European and African together. So yeah. Um, so then we meet Tarak, Prince Tarak, who is uh, paying off at this point, paying off his debt that he owes, and is blacksmithing at this moment, uh, with a very, very disturbing individual, which is he's really gross. But Tarak is pretty straightforward. There isn't a whole lot that we learn about him in the movie, except for he's a prince, and he's very courageous and very much uh, um, willing to do the things that other people aren't willing to do. So he is charged with, in order to get his freedom, he is charged with the possibility of taming a benu, which is sort of like a mix between a lion and a bird. These creatures are absolutely gorgeous and huge. And so at first I thought it was a griffin. I'm like, a griffin? Now you're speaking my language, but I'll take a benu. Not bad at all. So, um, oh, and Austin, the good Austin says it's Australian, guys. The mixture sounds Australian too. Oh, okay, okay. I can live with that. Um, and so we have this incredible scene we've all seen the um, in the trailers, that of this huge jump he takes off of a cliff and jumps onto this creature, and it is gorgeous. I mean, I was just loving that moment so much. Huge smile on my face. Ah, it was so beautiful. I was like, wow, and the music that accompanied it was just great. This is my stuff. This is the kind of stuff I love. I'm sure, like, for some people it's just not up their alley. This is so lame to some people, but for me it really is. So uh, this is where we get, like, you know, people niching down on the stuff that they like, right? This is all for me. I have to say, this is my kind of thing. But if it's not your kind of thing, I'm not angry at you at all. I think we all need to be different so we can help to share ideas and grow from them. And the God of Austin says, oh yeah, I read that one, and Mama Bear says, so it's basically a griffin. I want one too. Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, and it was interesting. There's a moment in which the creature is flying in, and everybody ducks except for Cora. Cora reaches up her hand and she touches the wing, and of course, she's probably the only one to be able to enjoy the beauty of that moment, the beauty of this powerful creature flying so close to them and touching its wing. She's just courageous in that way. It tells you so much about her personality right there. Like, everybody's ducking because they're afraid they're gonna get hurt, and she's just like, "No, take me with you," and she reaches for the wing. It's beautiful, and of course, it's slowed down. Beautiful slow motion, so you can live with that moment for a little bit longer than you probably would if it was just like phew, really fast. You wouldn't even know it happened. This is, to me, I feel, a really great use of slow motion. I loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Uh, and an answer for Kai, Australian. I think he was Kai is like an Irish kind of accent. I'm not sure exactly the location, but Charlie Hunnam was describing the accent he was using as definitely some sort of he said that it was a type of Irish accent that he was doing, and he even said that he had to back off of it a little bit in the audio because when because it was at some point they could hardly understand what he was saying, so he had to dial it back a little bit, and he even had a voice coach kind of work with him, a language coach to work with him on it. It was really interesting. I was like, wow, all the detail that goes into the making of a character. And the emancipator says, I believe that the Bennu did that to test Tarek. Oh, yes, of course. Of course. It was so great. And the way when he jumped back on the creature and he like grabbed onto it and kind of gave it like this big hug almost, it was like, oh, yes, I loved it. It was wonderful. Sorry. Just, I'm geeking out about that moment because it was so good. It was so good. Let's see. And William says, "A flying lion. It wants you. You're dead. Griffins are a high concept." Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's they and exactly what you just said with the fact that they're dangerous. They show you a little bit of that later on, where the guy who owns technically owns the griffin or the Bennu is trying to ride the creature, and it's like no, no, and yeah, it shows exactly how fierce that creature is. The emancipator says if Tarek landed, he could. If Tarek landed, he can be trusted. If he doesn't land, he dies. Pretty simple. The whole sequence. Yeah, it was a trust, a test of trust and courage. Like he has the courage to do, uh, you know, what is impossible. And thank you, the good Austin. Northern Ireland for Kai. Yes, yes. He did talk about it in great detail in an interview. Dart says, been playing with writing a trilogy with a Griffin army. Ooh, ooh, stop, stop. So I want a copy immediately. Gonna have to change that, but no, don't change it. Look, there's not enough griffins in this world, and plus more, this is not a griffin. This is a Bennu. So different thing. And the good awesome says had to do ADR because it was too thick, and which is true because I've been there. Gaelic accents are so hard to understand. Yeah, yeah. He had to do some, recover some of the language in ADR, and let's see that part. And William Blake calls us Talon's. Talon is a popular boys name these days. I'm considering a character named Talon Griffin. Ooh, that's actually pretty cool. Um, and oh, thank you so much, Kingdom of Nerds. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Happy holidays. Oh, thank you so very much. That really means a lot to me. Let me see if I can get a nice thank you for such a wonderful gift to the channel. Let's see. Here's one. Thanks again, Kingdom of Nerds. Really appreciate it. And Darth says, still working on a few characters' names as well. Oh yes, that's so much fun naming characters. There's been quite a few characters that I've had to change the names of for my stories that I'm working on, and because since it's been taking forever to do, and yeah, and there's a couple of names in this that's like one of my characters. I'm not sure if I need to change her name now, but I have a character named Nemesis, and may have to change her name, but maybe not, maybe not. Nemesis is a popular name anyway in sci-fi. And William Blake Hall says, I'm a names freak. Can't guarantee my suggestions will be useful, but they might be of interest. Yes, of course, of course. And do you own artwork too? Just wondering. Um, from are you talking about me? Uh, do my own artwork? I try to. I can do art. I can do art. I can do art. I yeah, it takes a little bit for me to get warmed up, but I can do art. And it's fun. It's fun. Um, I did a lot more work when I was younger though. It was so easy then. It was so easy then. Now it's more complicated. Um, and but if that's to William Blake Hall says, me, I buy art. That's it. I think Unicorn is an artist. Yes, Unicorn is really a fantastic artist. And El Necron says, gives a $5 super chat. Thank you. Thank you for your awesome videos. Tip Retro for her efforts if you can. Oh, you are so awesome to me. Stop it. Oh my God. Ah. The waterworks are gonna happen. Stop it. All right. Well, I do have a special thank you for you as well. Let's do this one. I do love dancing to these. Thank you so much, El Necron. I really appreciate you. And so you're just a wonderful guy, and love also collaborating with you on a whole bunch of stuff. So we gotta 2024. We gotta do something. And let's see. All right, so that was a great moment. They got Tarak, the Prince Tarak, who is really incredible. He's just an incredible character. I can't wait to see more from him. He just I think there is a backstory for him, and we'll talk about that because I've seen some pictures or some stills. Then now we come to Nemesis, who the background of this character really was not shared in this movie. We just got this lady who's got these two swords who fights this Spider Woman. But according to the lore, um, she is a person who had a child, and I believe her village and her child were killed. And from that loss, she cut off her own arms and installed robotic ones, and uh, inside the mechanism of the arms, they heat up these swords and they glow. And so that is part of her fighting, what you could say, advantage. And she's not the only one that can do this. Back on the village, we saw some people with blue um, uh, swords that were heated, and so this was very, very interesting to see. The colors are switched. We expected red for the bad guys, and we blue for the good guys. In this case, it's switched. Let's see. And yes, El Necron says Harmada. LOL, Zach with the zing. Yes. And so we have Nemesis fighting a spider creature, and trying to save a young child from imminent death. We're not sure exactly how she was planning on killing the child. She was going to suck the, the the blood from the child, or what it was that how she was going to kill the child, but she was going to kill that child. And Nemesis came in to save that child and get rid of the spider creature. And there was a little bit of story background for the spider creature on this world. All of these all of this colonization, cobalt colonization began and started creating a very hostile environment for the spider creature. And so now her eggs won't hatch. And I think this is really good. I hope we come back to this. This is actually quite interesting. Um, and her name is Hamada. And people, I think we can't escape the fact that one of the really, really, um, uh, I guess one of the executives that were kind of giving the Snyder cut a kind of a hard time was uh, had the same name, Hamada. So a lot of us think that that is, a very interesting coincidence, um, that the name is Harmana. And I think the scene, to me, is really good. I enjoyed it. One of the things that we get in this scene that for character development is that Gunnar steps in to try to save this child. And no one else is trying to save the child. None of the others, right? They're just not meant. They've seen hundreds of kids die. They're just on another level, right? And like, oh yeah, too bad for that kid. But Gunnar is like, no, let me try to save this kid. No weapons at all, no means to protect himself. He just jumps in. And I think that is one of the specific reasons why I like this character. Yes, he is responsible for the downfall of his village, or Sindri's death, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But he really means well. He really means well, and he's trying to fix a mistake he made. And here, he's just trying to do one little thing. One thing is just save a child's life. And I thought it was beautiful. I did enjoy the pacing of this, but I think maybe um, uh, I would have loved for it to have gone a lot faster, but we had to demonstrate exactly how much of a threat this spider creature was. So it was a fun moment for me. I did like it. I don't like spiders, so if I put up with this scene, that I like it. And William Blake Hall says the building I live in was once known as Armada. Ooh, well, I do love Armada, the word Armada. Uh, and I always have been fascinated by the Spanish Armada. And then the group is taken to find General Titus. And so General Titus is a fallen general who is a mastermind. He is one of the Imperium's best ever strategists, and he something happened where he defected. He's also too a fugitive. So these two, appropriately put together, are fugitives of the Imperium. They're being sought after and hunted, but looks like everybody else knows exactly where these guys are, but not the Imperium. They're not hooked in. So they find him, and then they find the blood axes hanging out on a planet where they're being protected by a king, King Leviticus. And yeah, this is actually a great scene where Darius Blood Axe and Deborah Blood Axe sort of come in with their troops and sort of says, you know, what's going on here? Why are you looking for us? And um, it is imparted upon them that, hey, this is really your fault. These guys are looking for you, and they're terrorizing the entire, you know, they're terrorizing the small village. If you would only just, you know, give yourself up, maybe, you know, wouldn't have to do that. They didn't say that, but they're the cause. They're the cause, and so um, it is one of those things where I think a little guilt sets in. Then uh, Darius says, I'll go and be uh, amongst the people to fight and protect this village because he doesn't like the fact that there have been entire worlds destroyed in the name of this you know, this revolution. And so I just love that, and he gives this wonderful speech to get a couple of people to come with him, and you know they all kind of take off, and just before let's see, uh, Emancipator says, "I think the Imperium scribes mutated her. The science project gone wrong." Oh, Hamada. Oh, I would love to know that. Please, I would please tell me more. I need more. See, that's what I'm talking about. The story is just like we're getting just the tip of the iceberg, just the tip. And I think for a lot of people, they're like, "Give us the whole iceberg right now." And it's too much. It's way too much. Um, and so I don't mind just having a tip with the anticipation there will be more. So he gives this really impassioned speech that's just wonderful. I think it's great. But however, poor Leviticus is found out by uh, the the Imperium. Atticus shows up and completely levels his planet, kills him. It's horrible. I did really feel for this character, and he's basically begging for his life and the life of his um, his culture being absolutely obliterated. He mentions that they've been a peaceful society for 10,000 years and it's all gone. So yeah, that's the awfulness about this Imperium. They kill in the name of the Imperium, and they destroy everything of other worlds, cultures, things that can be shared amongst people, and yeah, it's sad. Um, and Hungry Jerk is here. Hi, Hungry Jerk. How are you today? Says, has anyone seen Ocean Girl? Is that a movie or something? Mm, not aware of it. Let us know what that is. What is Ocean Girl? Um, and and yeah, they completely level this world, and it's really hard to see. It's things like that that's kind of like wow. And by the way, the visuals on that is just sick. It's really incredible. Um, the the visual thing there. This is another cool visual. But as before going back to the village, Kai manages to charm his way into, you know, saying, "Hey, look, we I need to dock somewhere to get rid of um, some of the cargo that I have in, you know, and then we can head off to your village. One last gig before I go." And these guys, they actually help unload this um, canisters for him. But inside these canisters is these robots that kind of trap you and hold you prisoner in a very unique way. And you know, and it's really awful, just awful what they're capable of doing in these contraptions. And yeah, uh, it's all Kai's fault because Kai is the one who organized all of these big baddies that the Imperium has been looking for all of this time, all together in one place. And so he, you know, he's the awful turncoat in this situation. And his reasoning for it was that his world too was destroyed, and he's psychologically scarred from all of this. He's just like, his words exactly was he didn't want to be on the wrong side of history, where he would be destroyed with his world. Like he wants to be to survive this, and so it, it's really sad to see, really sad to see that he gave them all up so easily. Um, and Emancipator says it's almost like colonialism, or maybe it is. Yeah, but I mean, these guys are uh, colonialism. I think we had a slower burn, whereas with these guys, it's just they're like horrible. There's something, there's an edge to it that's even just even worse than bad. And Jared says, I heard there are spiders every 6 feet everywhere on land. In general, I don't like mosquitoes. Uh, and um, Emancipator says, it was painful to watch. Yes, it was. It was so hard to watch that. And Hungry Jerk says, a TV show about a mysterious girl from the sea. Oh no, I haven't seen that. Okay, I'm gonna have to look it up. Ocean Girl. Thanks for letting me know. And William Blake Hall says, my favorite rebel moon is still our moon in the year of 2076. In the Heinlein novel, the moon is a harsh mistress. Oh, yeah, that's, I'm learning something. I'm learning. And that old Yorkshire geek is here. Hello, how are you? Says, the scene got my brain cogs going about him. This scene got your brain cogs going about him. Yeah, I mean, he's really interesting. And it's pretty sad, his outcome, and you know why he would do something like that. But I was thinking, well, maybe like in Dune, they had one of his people captured, his wife captured, or something like that. But yeah, no, it was just greed and the need to survive. So his desperation to survive, um, and uh, let's see. Oh, and Hungry Jerk says that the show Ocean Girl is 30 years old. Just found out about it. Wow! Thank you. Yeah, I love older shows that are just starting to get their flowers. Thank you. And so they managed to free themselves, and it's like a huge battle. But Darius Blood Axe is the first of the seven to really like do something super heroic and kind of go into um, I would say get get himself killed pretty much. But whilst doing so, he takes down one of the huge Imperium ships called, I believe, the King's Gaze, and it goes down in spectacular glory. And and it seems like we're never going to see him again, right? But I think we are. I think we're going to see him again in other stuff. But it was a great character that we didn't get to a chance to really enjoy for very long. It was very, very quick. Um, and Matsu says, what side of history when the scribes implant the history they want into you to remember? I think Kai was lobotomized by the Imperium and his mind got wiped. Ooh, that's interesting. And Emancipator says it is a dreadnought. Okay, yes, the dreadnoughts are really the machines that the huge ships that are really the big um, uh, like the threat, the huge threat to whatever place they are kind of seen. And Dart says, Blake, have you ever heard of that? Read the Door to Summer. Oh, I never heard of that. Um, and so one of Blood Axe's people. Milius is their name, and uh, Milius goes into like a complete rage, and we believe that Milius is going to be a big part of the second half of the movie, uh, the second movie. So there's this huge explosion. It's wonderful, and then we get into this huge fight sequence. It's crazy. It's wonderful. I enjoyed that fight sequence because you know, Korra is really working for that so heavily, so heavily. It was just incredible. And that old Yorkshire Greek says, was it the King's Gaze they took down? That was it was a smaller one. It was a dreadnought. It was a dreadnought. I thought it was a smaller ship. Yes, sorry about that. A mistake. A mistake. A dreadnought with a gun platform on it. I thought the main ship was in orbit. Yep, it was just a dreadnought. Um, so and why did I have him here? Oh yes. So ultimately, the person to save everyone, which they not acknowledged, was Gunner. Gunner was charged with dealing the final blow to kill Korra, and whose actual name is Athalias, and she was well. I think Korra is her real name, but Athalias is the name that what is his name? Belisarius gave to her. So her kidnapper, really. So it is one of those things, and he was about to do it, but he figured out a way to free her instead, and was really the one to save everybody from imminent doom. And so he's actually the secret hero here, which is kind of cool. I like him. I think he reminds me a lot of Lee Van Cleef. I don't know if you guys remember him. I don't know if you see the similarities in the two, but it's there. He's like a modern day one. They need to put him a lot of westerns and things like that. And the guy's name, the actor's name is Michael Huisman. So I hope that they use him a lot for a lot more stuff. Okay, I really do. He's a solid actor. The Daily Dan blog is here. Greetings. He says, "Oh, good to see you as well." And yeah, we have the um, Atticus is dead, but maybe not. Where I think he looks dead, or as they say in Princess Bride, he's mostly dead. See what you know. He's mostly dead. Uh, yeah, he looks dead to me, and they kind of hook him up to this machine, and he's able to. There's like a robot piece in the back of his head, so I think he's possibly cyborg, or this may be something that they implant in everybody's head, so that way they can do the you know, they can be able to be hooked up to this machine. And the Ganassim says no. I think you're right. That was the King's Gaze, which is a dreadnought. Atticus stepped off the ship, which was his AKA the King's Gaze. The other dreadnought we see in orbit, I thought, is another one. Oh, okay. So there may yes. Okay. After I see this, like maybe 5 more times, I'll know. I'll know. Yes, because all I know is that when it was destroyed, they were like, "Yes, we've got one on these guys," because that was a big deal for them to destroy that ship. So I'm not sure exactly which one. And yes, that old Yorkshire geek. Me too. I like that he was the wimpy guy, no weapons. He doesn't have any training, and he's just the wimpy guy that saved the day in the end. I loved it. It was wonderful, 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 um, and it was great. And Emancipator says he's impaled, yeah. And Mama Bear says to blave, to blave. Yes, I mean, he was dead, or mostly dead, and they hook him up to this machine, and he's able to talk to um, the regent, who is Belisarius at this moment, and in this interesting place. And if you notice, the symbol for Rebel Moon is right behind, right there in the picture. So I'm like, oh, is this what's referred to as Rebel Moon? So yeah, I mean, this is this part of the reference too. Um, Not meaning is this it, but I just thought it was really great to see that. And so they're on a like an ice plane, but underneath you can see fishes move, and it's really a fascinating scape that they're in. I suppose you can compare it to sort of a dream platform or something, or like in Star Wars has the world between worlds, which is quite interesting. So yeah, this is some other psychological plane in which they're able to meet and have conversations. And Atticus gives him the update, and Belisarius says, "Do you think that this is good news? That all of my enemies are together?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, that makes sense." But also shows you how much of a jerk Belisarius is. He doesn't even respect any um, of the hard work that it was to kind of come come to this moment, that hey, they have these guys in reach, they can just wipe them all out, but it is he's not happy with that. He wants the impossible, right? The impossible is go in there, get Cora alive, okay, get her alive and bring her to him. So it's really like, how are they going to do that? How are you going to get your hands on Cora alive? I mean, you could barely do it this time. So uh, he's very demanding, very uh, he's not really that great of a human being, as we can see. Um, and let's see. And Mama Bear Aunt says, if he's still alive, I can hold out hope for Darren Bloodaxe, right? Exactly. Maybe he's still alive. Maybe I hope he has a twin brother or something. But yeah, I do believe at least we're gonna at least get some more stuff from him because of the trailer, and for the second one. The good Austin says cybernetic enhancement, which the Senate, according to Rebel Moon Guide, ooh, you've got the guide, prides themselves on getting. Not so, not so entirely a cyborg, I don't think, but close to it. Yeah, and so also what I'm also interested in is the book, the novelization that came out today. I want to see, well, yesterday it came out. I want to get my hands on that sucker. I want to get my hands on that sucker. And yes, that old Yorkshire geek says back to tanks for everybody. Yes, it looks like a back to tank. And I also compared it to the Matrix, where we have all these tubes being plugged into someone, and definitely up and down the spinal cord. Very very familiar stuff there. And the Emancipator says, I wonder if the scribes are AI technology from the mother world, a world with alien beings. Possibly, yeah, possibly, possibly. And Mama Bear out there says, I can understand why he's unhappy. These people are already tough to beat individually. Together, there's not much hope. Yeah, so yeah, and that's absolutely correct. Like separated, they could have at least got taken care of one, but to have them all together is going to be um, a hard feat, and also the fact General Titus was the one that he was really kind of pissed off at. He was like, General Titus, the greatest, strategy, strategic general ever. Like he was really pissed at that. So I am looking forward to the challenge that opposes the Imperium at this point. They seem to be shaken up just a little. And the good Austin says Kai has a twin brother apparently. But yes, Darren in part two is in the part two trailer. Oh, really? Kai has a twin brother. I need to see more. I hope he's a good guy. Please. I hope he's a good guy. I hope he's a good guy. And the good answer says, I got the novelization yesterday. It's the book of R-rated extended cut. Let me just tell you, the movie starts completely different. Different world, different character. And we're going to get right into that. We are going to get right into that, okay? And definitely thank you for giving me the heads up on the novelization. Um, that the novelization is going to be based on the version of this movie. And one thing I wanted to talk about was the visuals. There were very interesting visuals, talking about the rips and tears in the fabric of space to do for space travel. Just some of the unique images that were part of this world. Just loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. As a sci-fi like super nerd, I dig all of that stuff. This depiction of a space, a futuristic battle world. I mean, this is insane. I've never seen anything so wild. It's really incredible. And you see, there was some really strong Roman influences, crusades, as I mentioned before, and a lot of the armor that was on a lot of the individuals. Very, very beautiful details in almost every facet of this film. Absolutely love that. I adore the space travel and all of that. I love that Kai was having fun while riding his vehicle. He was enjoying it. It was fun, and so that was actually kind of a nice moment to enjoy. The aliens of this world, they're really fascinating, and I dig them. I want more. I want more. Can I have more, please? This alien here is very, very fascinating to me. We only saw her for a moment, but I do believe that there's a lot more from this particular alien. Um, and I saw something where somebody was saying, "Well, where's more on this alien right here? Why did Zack Snyder single out this alien for promo?" And I do believe that this alien has more to do in the future. And that old Yorkshire Grease says, I enjoyed the film, not really original, but most stories have variations on a theme. Yes. And I did go into that in great detail at the beginning of the stream. Do check that. I do talk about all of the influences for this movie and many, many, many other movies. So yeah, I do love this take on all of this stuff. I really do. And the combination of it too. The Emancipator says, wasn't there a Roman general called Titus? Oh, I think so. I think so. If my memory serves me correctly. Not sure if we have a historian in the house. We have any historians in the house? Darth Plato. Where's Darth Plato when you need a historian? Darth Plato, where are you? We need you. And Mama Bear says it's possible. Yes, I think so. It sounds familiar. Um, Either it's Titus or Tiberian. I'm not sure. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's on the tip of it. And And Mama says, I know the locations are legit. Yeah, they are. And William Blake Hall says Titus is a very old and enduring Roman name. Oh, just in general, yes. Okay. And Shakespeare wrote Titus Andronicus. Oh, okay. There you go. There you go. Ah, William, you're awesome. Thanks for that. You guys are just super smart. I love it. Now, my rating at this point, I really have a hard time rating this movie. Really hard time. I I I want to give it really high scores, and I don't know. I just don't have the information yet to give it, um, more than maybe an 8 at this point because all the things could just fall apart in the second movie. But I don't think it will. But we'll hold out until I see the second movie to really comment on this because this could be the beginning of something incredible, and I don't want to. Um, Judge it too low or too high if it is or if it isn't. And Sinhavik says Titus was a Roman emperor. And Mama Bear says Castor and Pollux are in the Gemini constellation. Oh, cool. Oh, cool. Yeah, there were so many little references to so many different things all over the place here. It's just great. That's, that's great. Um, let's see. And I just wanted to talk about Netflix right now and how they have specialized in really getting to promote this. I haven't seen them promote anything like they were promoting this movie, and so they actually saved a lot of money by having the two versions, actually the four versions of the movie created, and then they're able to like spread out, the budget between all four. It's much different than kind of just doing one movie, waiting 2 years to restart it all up again. That's a totally different like budget. You got to like refit everybody. It's a big deal. You got to tear down sets and put them back up again. They did it all in one shot, and this is great. So they have 4 movies that they're going to be releasing, and this is brilliant. So they have more money for marketing, and that's another awesome thing. So they're spending the money to get the word out. And this is, look, they're like I said, this movie is not going to be for everybody. And so in the process of doing this wide scope advertisement and marketing, they are finding the people who are the niche, who are going to look at this and actually see this and like it. There are going to be a lot of people who see this and not like it, and they'll never revisit it again. But right now, it's developing. It's going to be, which is really interesting. This is the beginning of something great. I absolutely believe that. It's so exciting to see a new IP show up and be so good right like immediately. It's like I'm loving it. TJ says he was the son of the Roman emperor to Caesar. Oh, cool. And Sinhafik says Rebel Moon has a lot of people scared because they talk about ancient history, hidden ancient history. Oh, yeah, yeah. It's hard. It's hard for people to when you go through like history and see all the terrible things that were done back then. And the fear of that we may repeat ourselves is also sort of looming over us in a big way. And so, yeah, these guys, they spared no expense to get the word out, to put on these presentations. It's incredible. I just love it. Love it, love it. The style of the characters, everything. They're just going all out with product. Look at this. This is insane. Just great. And they're reveling in it too. They're reveling in it. There's even toys now. You can get not toys, but figures that you can get This one in particular is from Amazon. There's a few others that are out there from different lines, figurines, and action figures on the way. So yeah, that's on another level of marketing, and that is exactly that's exactly the strategy of the original Star Wars. Was there wasn't a whole lot of other things that there was T-shirts, there were toys, all those things they weren't exactly ready for Star Wars when it was out, but it was one of those things that kind of built up. People knew about the toys and had ordered them and pre-order. It was really great. So I love all this extra stuff, all the extra memorabilia for Rebel Moon, and I think they're on their way to do something incredible. There's I know there's games, and we talked about the book as well. Rebel Moon is number one on 61 countries. I'm not sure if it has increased since then. If you guys have an update for me, let me know. But I do love the fact that Netflix is going all in on this movie and really supporting Zack Snyder, who's gotten a lot of hatred, like visceral hatred in the news about this movie. It's a movie you don't like and you don't care about, that's fine. But some of the comments are just, they hit way below the belt. And so I'm so glad to see that the network is just saying, look, we support him. And it's wonderful. Kudos on them. A big round of applause. And extremely proud that a studio is standing up for something. So they usually don't. They're like, oh no, your people hate you, so we'll take you down and we'll hide you in the back room. We'll pretend we don't know anything about you. We'll fire you and get rid of you. And DJ says Godzilla Minus One showed Hollywood how to do it in one film, and Netflix showed Hollywood how to do it with 4 films. Yes. And Sin Havoc says the scribes represent the Anunnaki Sumerian history, and the scribes remember they always remember everything, and mentions the molten swords. And TJ says, exactly, Sin. The scribes have seen it all. They have. But what do they tell? And Rebel Moon tells a dark truth about history. It scares the masses. Yeah. And so this is actually something about the R-rated version, or the director's cut, as a lot of people have referred to it. And I've heard Zack talk directly about this, and I think somehow it's being twisted around in the news, and many YouTube pundits. They're I think they kind of get the information a little bit wrong. The way Zack talked about this particular um, director's cut, which is an R-rated version, it's about an hour longer. He said it's an alternative version of the PG version. It's totally different. Like the good Austin was explaining the book, and how that was set. It's on totally different worlds. And that's basically the R vision. And so we have this scene here where we got just a little blood, but his version is going to be a lot more. It's going to be a lot more brutal. Of course, as we can see in many of the shots in the movie, like areas where I'm like, oh, I know that moment in the director's cut is going to be way more intense, and there will probably be a lot more content. But it wasn't set up to completely retell the story, or to add more to the original story of the PG version. So he describes it as like, just totally going berserk on the story, you know. So, and whereas this one is definitely stuck to a storyline. So I am interested to see this version, and who knows, maybe the fans will take to this one more than the PG version. And so the question is, which one is canon in this universe that he's building? Which one is canon? Is the ultimate question. And that leads me to the sequel to this, which is Rebel Moon: The Scar Giver, which is coming out in April. It's not that long from now. Usually these part twos come out in 2 years. Look at Dune 2. And that's been you know, we've been waiting patiently for Dune 2. And they knew that there was going to possibly be a Dune 2, but it needed to be given the okay and wait for all the studio stuff. Netflix says, hey, no problem. We're going to give you part 2 right now. Right now. There's no need to wait for audiences' reactions. We're just going to go with it. And it has been, I think it's one of the best decisions they ever made, because at least people who are now becoming fans of the first movie are realizing, yes, there is more to the story, and we're going to get it. We are going to get it. And that's the fear of a lot of people when they hear about a story that's not complete. Well, are we going to get the rest? And that fear is not an issue. We are getting the rest of the story. And so there are scenes, we haven't seen this yet. We've seen a scene with her with the overalls on, and but we haven't seen this scene yet. We haven't seen this scene yet. There's a lot of scenes that we haven't seen yet, and these are all new scenes that we just haven't seen yet, that are going to be really integral to the story. And I can't wait to find out what they all mean, you know, what story they're going to tell. There's that character again. And there she is again. So she's going to be a big part of this. I mean, I'm not sure if it's going to be a huge role, but at least we're going to see her again. And generally, we haven't seen this scene yet. None of that. We haven't seen any of this yet. And this was all in the teasers and trailers. I haven't seen that. Somebody was saying that this looks like a Frank Frazetta painting, which it does, absolutely. And, you know, Tarek doing some damage here. And then Tarek is going to get some sort of backstory. We know that we're going to see that. There's a bird creature right behind him, so he has experience with the bird creatures. Jimmy, here's some more like fresh stills of him and his antler head piece. I mean, there's just a lot that we just haven't seen. Here's Milius. There's going to probably be a whole section about this character. There's Nemesis. A full backstory we're probably going to get. I mean, look at this picture. Isn't that like that is the coolest picture? Come on, come on. It's just really great. And this is a new Blood Axe picture. I've never seen this picture before. This is a new picture. This is more all new stuff that we haven't seen yet, and I can't wait to see it. There's Sam. And we haven't seen this creature yet, have we? I didn't see him. I was looking for him. And there's more. Now this is like the production art that was released ages ago. And so we haven't seen these visuals yet. And of course we talked about the book. and there's some other like materials that are going to be released. It's a big deal. They've already started the train. The train has already left the station, and you've got to wait for the next train to come up on you. Because yeah, we're already into this. We're already into this. There's no stopping um, this thing. So for people who are really loving this, we're gonna get more people who are not really enjoying it. I'm so sorry. I know what it's like to to see something that a lot of people like and not really enjoy it, but that is life. We're all gonna like stuff that other people are gonna like, and yeah, I do think that this is insanely good, and there's a lot of nooks and crannies in it that are yet to be discovered. I really was hoping a lot of the breakdown YouTubers were going to really dive into all of the details behind this, and many of them are like kind of failing me right now. They're like they've given up, and I think it's because they're afraid that their viewers are going to be hostile to the content, and they may be right about that. As you look in their comments, a lot of people are just not in agreement with of liking the Rebel Moon, but it is okay for the people who do like it. I do suggest that if you do have a platform to talk about this movie, um, uh, do as much as you can to dig right into this because it's really good, and I actually want to talk to the good Austin and see what he learned. What else he's juicy stuff he's got from that guide and also the book. Uh, wow, I am really. I actually want to get my hands on that book though. Um, and yes, Sin Havoc says Benus are a type of griffins. Yes, the book guide is amazing. I want it. And then also, Zack Snyder has also created a photo book, which I can't. I believe that is going to be just gorgeous. And it says more from the guide. Tarek has a pendant on his neck that is his family's crest, a Benu. Interesting, interesting. Very nice. Oh, very nice, very nice. And Sin Havoc says that Rebel Moon is exposing a lot of false narratives. It could possibly be, yeah. I don't disagree. But yeah, I do think, yeah, I tried to put a rating, but I just couldn't. So yeah, those are my thoughts, guys, on Rebel Moon, and it was really, really a lot of fun to look at this movie. I do adore it, and I can't wait for more stuff. Really can't. And uh, TJ says, retro, some of them purposely trashing the film because they don't understand it. Yeah, I mean that's not a reason to trash a film if you don't understand it. It's okay. Um, it's okay. Like I'm like it's okay, little like little guy. It's all right. Like it's okay if they don't understand it. It's fine. Um, that's why I really feel like it's so important for us to dive into the things we like. I don't want to like try to convince somebody else to like something because that's not my job. That's life. They have to figure things out for themselves. But for me, this is really up my alley. But I hope that, and what I'm seeing is that some people may feel intimidated to speak highly about this because of what an audience may say or do. So that's another thing that I'm noticing, and which is sad that that we all kind of have to tenderly, say our opinion, but always go with the crowd and not go with our hearts. So I I, I feel bad in a way, exist. It's a method of being trapped too. It's just not fair. Um, but yeah, I don't put any pressure on them to do anything. I just won't watch that stuff. That's all. It's just pretty sad because I think we can, within the group of like whoever is out there who has a platform who can do deep dives, definitely do them because this is really great. This is great. And El Necron says, "Remember, The Empire Strikes Back was trashed by the critics. It was, and it's like it's the best. It's the best movie of night. It was so incredible." Cinematic says, Griffins are majestic creatures from the ancient world. Yes, they're wonderful. I've always wanted. I used to draw them when I was little, and I always used to draw the griffins and the sphinx. I always loved those too. Um, and Sin Havoc says people fear what they don't understand. Or they get mad. They get mad at it. Like, why don't I understand this? And El Necron says the fans love it. Rebel Moon was awesome and cannot wait for more. Yeah, I can't wait for more. And it looks like it's going to be it's going to get really good, to be honest. That old Yorkshire Grease says, I honestly don't understand why a lot of my favorite YouTubers are trashing it. Yeah, it breaks my heart. It's like, but also too, like if they don't, their audience are going to eat them alive. Like they've built up this kind of thing going on. Yeah, it's very sad. But fair enough, we can't all like the same stuff. Yeah, we can't all like the same stuff. And I think also too, this is an opportunity um, to learn new things, like to understand. Like through the effort of trying to verbalize exactly what I was feeling through this film, I was able to do a nice little breakdown at the beginning of this stream of exactly what the influences are of this film, and also what the influences are of Star Wars and the big difference between the two, which I think a lot of people aren't really paying attention to that. They're just sort of going off of sound bites that they heard from other people as complaints. And that is, even though they too have seen this content, if you go into this with the idea, I'm going to find every flaw in this movie, you'll find every movie has a flaw. And I don't care the best movies in the world. You go in there with that attitude, fine. And I think I didn't really have a feeling or not whether I was like, oh, I was very nervous, to be honest, as I was like, I'm hoping that, that this at least sticks the landing. And it did for me. It showed, like I said, there are certain visuals in this that are like ripped right out of my brain. And I like visualize these things. I was like, this is new. No one's ever thought of. Oh, there it is. And so yeah, and to the point of like actually having characters in this movie that I've actually written and I wrote about in the 90s. I wrote a character named Nemesis in the 90s. So yeah, that is a lot like this one. Uh, but I might be able to still use her. I may change her slightly so that way she can be even more unique. And if Zach gives me Godzilla, I'll go nuts. And El Necron says the agenda against Zack Snyder is real. And I'm starting to I think that more people are starting to believe that and understand that because the comments are so awful and insulting. You would never say that to anyone. And then earlier today, I discovered that uh, someone had taken up for him and had said how wonderful his movies are. Uh, and they're getting completely lambasted. And so anybody who takes up, it's almost like a mob or a mob lynching. He's the new person that we all hate. And it's not from like being woke or not woke or all that stuff. Like, there are actually people who are like, "Yeah, we don't like his content because it's not woke enough." And then there's some people who are like, "Oh, it's too woke." Where he's just making content, he doesn't care about that. Like, if you look for things to complain about, as I said before, you're gonna find them, because, that's what, unjust criticism is. It's finding flaws in something uh and that you could you'll be able to find. And I think some YouTubers are being paid to trash. You think so? I think that's unfortunate truth. Oh, wow. Ay, ay, ay. Well, I honestly hope that's not true. I really do. I really, like, honestly hope that's not true. Yeah. Yeah, you say, "Watch the movie and decide for yourself if you like it or not." Yeah, and I have a few people that I like that have said, "Oh, it's not for me. It's not my jam. It's not the kind of thing I would like to watch. It's not, I'm not into this." Um, and I don't have a problem with them at all. I don't have I'm like, "Cool, you're not into it. Fine. It's fine." There's not I'm not here to make anybody watch something they wanna watch. But just gather with the people who like the movie and talk about it. That's all. And then that's always fun, talking movies that you enjoy with friends, and just like all of the information you guys shared about the backgrounds or the details that was going on in this story. We were able to have such a great conversation, and I love that. So um, that's what it's all about. I think if that's what it's all about. All the other stuff is just really too much. I think let's start loving movies again. And if there's not a movie out there you love, find one that you do and play it and watch it and enjoy it. And Sin Havoc says Rebel Moon has more references to seven than Star Wars. Yep, and I'm not sure if you didn't get here earlier. I'm serious, guys. If you didn't see the beginning of this stream, I lay it down. Ask El Necron. El Necron was here for it. He was like, "Oh my goodness." I laid it down. So yes, it is definitely a Seven Samurai movie, and it is not the first one to do that. And so it's really cute when I hear people say, "Yeah, this is basically Magnificent Seven in space," and I was like, "Oh gosh." I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I need to. Oh gosh, we need to have a conversation." Oh boy. And yeah, so I think I'm gonna end it here. I did have some headlines that I wanted to talk about, but I've been going at it for 2 hours, and I I think this should do it. I think we've spoken enough about this, and if anything, I might do deeper breakdown with way more um production, but it is very, very much fun to talk about movies, and I hope you guys will join me in the future to do just that. And oh guys, that old Yorkshire geek says, I was late arriving. I definitely will watch from the beginning. Oh, it's so good. It's so juicy. I did lay it out all out for you guys to see exactly where the influences came from and why a lot of the comments that people are making about it are they're not totally wrong. It's just slightly needs to bear some information, extra information in mind about films and cinema throughout history that they are just not aware of or not wanting to acknowledge. I find it very interesting when you have very well versed individuals in filmmaking who just seem to say these random things that are very dismissive of movies, and just sort of like, wow, I I'm very surprised at this kind of language coming from, people who know how hard it is to make a movie and know about filmmaking and the history of filmmaking. So, um, just wanted to definitely lay down some respect for a movie that a person really cared about, took 30 years to make, at least that much. Give it a little respect. Um, and TJ says it gives me itches about the Expanse, an Amazon series. I've not gotten into the Expanse, but it is very much highly regarded, and so I should probably set aside some time to look at the Expanse. And this is really funny. Yeah, it is a little bit. It's a little bit funny. And Elnacom says only on the internet does this happen. People don't go to a book club meeting to trash the topic. So remember, the internet is not the real world. Rebel Moon is number one everywhere in the world. Yeah, and Elnacom says, and yes, Retro was laying down the law. Yes, I did. I did. I did. I did. I have to give myself a pat on the back for that. And Sin Havoc says those YouTubers are really want their cameo in Superman Legacy. What is that? Oh man. And anyway, with that said, I think it's time for me to get going here. I do have a 3-minute video in which you can leave your comments and closing statements and anything else you want to tell me about. And without further ado, I bid you adieu, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.
Retro Nerd Girl, you are clear for takeoff.